Good evening and welcome to Eswatini TV News at 8. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Lindokuhle Masugu. Standing with me tonight is Zamanzi Manze. Here are tonight's headlines. The Prime Minister, Cleopas Dlamini, left the country to represent His Majesty King Eswatini III at the United Nations Conference on Climate Change in Egypt. The Deputy Prime Minister says the International Day for the Girl Child provides the girl child and government with an opportunity to engage on issues affecting the youth. The governor of the Central Bank of Eswatini says they will make sure that when Eswatini adopts the use of the digital currency, it is safe from cybercrime. Well, let's get into the news in detail. The Prime Minister, Cleopas Dlamini, left the country to represent His Majesty King Eswatini III at the United Nations Conference on Climate Change, COP27, in Egypt. The COP27 conference will be held from the 7th to the 18th of this month, and meanwhile, the Deputy Prime Minister, Tema Masugu, will be the acting Prime Minister.
The Prime Minister, Cleopas Dlamini, says some of the issues that will be deliberated upon at the COP27 include climate adaptation, food systems, and climate finance, amongst other issues.
Sinibikela ngeluhambo lapha siya khona le event ase-Egypt edolobheni lethiwa iSharm el Sheikh. Kusho ukuthi siyawuthunywe khona ingwenyama emhlanganweni webaholi bemave onke emhlaba, not just i-Africa. Lapha kuyokhulunywa khona ngesimo sekuguquguquka kwelitulu. Baholi ke kulo mhlangano baye bahlangane batobuka ukuthi yinde sebayendile kulo mnyaka lophelile ukuthi phela babane banciphise lokwanza kwesimo sekushisa, babukeke nakwekuthi yini lenye futhi lebatayenda emave ngamave ke endaloko. Kukhunyana ke lakithi usubone ukuthi isimo selitulu kukhona lesikwengetako ngoba emaveni lamanengi kunemishini emikhulu kasetshenzwa vele kunema industries. Uyabona kuyabhunya letindiza etulu tiyangeta kulesimo selitulu, kanti la emaveni ase-Afrika khona simo sesemuva. Kepha ke siyabona na imishini yemimoba iyaduma, konke lokho kuya-eda kulesimo selitulu.
The Prime Minister says Eswatini has a role to play in combating climate change despite contributing less carbon emissions compared to other countries. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla with Tamba Shabang, Sikhupe.
The Deputy Prime Minister, Tema Masugu, says the International Day for the Girl Child provides the girl child and government with an opportunity to engage on issues affecting the youth. Masugu, who was represented by the Minister for Sports, Youth and Culture, Harris Bulunga, says this will assist in informing policies. The minister was speaking during the commemoration of the Day for the Girl Child in Eswatini.
The Kingdom of Eswatini on Friday commemorated the International Day of the Girl Child under the theme, Our Time Now, Our Rights, Our Future. Making his remarks, the Deputy Prime Minister, represented by the Minister for Sports, Youth and Culture, Harris Bulunga, says this day allows the country to take stock of the milestones and to learn of the gaps that still exist.
Through panel discussions, bakhulume bazivetele thina sithathe ama-notes kuthi bantwana mfana wentombazana uthini sihambe siyakusebenta.
Bulunga says since the advent of the COVID-19, the country recorded 300 teenage pregnancies, while in 2019, the country recorded 87 teenage pregnancies per 1,000 adolescents. The pupils' panelist discussions emphasized the challenges that were brought about the COVID-19 pandemic. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni Mbonga Dube, Ezulwini.
About 9,000 Maswati in the Lubombo region are HIV positive and not on treatment. This was revealed during the Lubombo Region HIV and AIDS Commemoration Day at Stobelweni. The Minister for Education, Lady Howard, was part of the commemoration, and this year's theme is Eswatini Ending AIDS for All.
The Minister for Education, Lady Howard, today participated in an HIV/AIDS commemoration event that was held at Tobelweni. This year's theme says Eswatini ending AIDS for all.
Equity in service delivery, equity in technological access, to enable communities to highlight the inequalities they face, as well as the importance of reforming laws, policies, and practices to tackle stigma and exclusion faced by people living with HIV.
National Executive Director Kanya Mabuza revealed that from last year, about 504 Emaswati in the Lubombo region died due to HIV/AIDS, and the region has since recorded about 514 new HIV cases.
Cishe bantu abafika la ku-9,000 labathestile but abawadli amaphilisi. Sitawucela ke singinetsha ukuthi bekunene ukuze sinqobe le HIV layibonjeni. Asesibuke letingoma.
UNAIDS Country Director Rose Craig says they are committed to support Eswatini in ending AIDS.
Attaining 95 does not equate to the end of the HIV epidemic in the kingdom.
The HIV commemoration will continue to all the regions in the country. Reporting, I am Tembelihle Makuchwa at Tobela.
The governor of the Central Bank of Eswatini, Dr. Filmnisi, says they will make sure that when Eswatini adopts the use of the digital currency, it is safe from cybercrime to ensure that Emaswati do not lose their finances due to fraud.
2 days ago, the International Monetary Fund reported that more countries are doing research on how they can use their digital currency. The governor of the Central Bank of Eswatini, Dr. Filmnisi, gives details about this currency.
A central bank CBDC is a form of central bank issued money that only exists in digital form. It is fully backed by the central bank, like other forms of central bank money such as cash. It only exists in digital form, and all transactions must be completed via a computer, a smartphone, or other digital devices. There are two types of CBDCs, a wholesale CBDC and a retail CBDC. A wholesale CBDC is a digital currency issued by the central bank directly to commercial and other financial institutions which have reserve accounts at the central bank. A wholesale CBDC is used by the banks for settlement amongst themselves and is not accessible to the public. A retail CBDC is like cash in that it is available to the wider public. This means users can be able to pay for service in a retail CBDC.
The governor says they will further explore ways on how Emaswati can use the currency. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla with Themba Chabangu Mbabane.
The African Union Advocacy Board is in the Kingdom of Eswatini to lobby for the country to ratify the convention that calls for eradicating corruption. This was revealed by the first secretary of the Embassy of Eswatini in Ethiopia, Patizo Malambe, in the Ministry of International Cooperation offices.
The African Union Advisory Board Against Corruption, led by the chairperson, Honorable Jean-Louis Andrea Mafidi, visited the Kingdom of Eswatini on an advocacy mission to encourage the Kingdom of Eswatini to ratify the African Union Convention on Preventing and Combating Corruption. The AU, ABC, and the government of the Kingdom of Eswatini both echoed the importance of dealing with corruption, as it is a scourge that has slowed development in many African countries. Through the week-long consultations, the board and the Minister of Justice recognized that the Kingdom of Eswatini has already put in place various measures aimed at promoting the fight against corruption, and therefore joining the other state parties to the AU-CPCC will facilitate better cooperation within the framework of the Convention. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation reassured the AU-APC that the process of ratification is ongoing and the instruments have been cleared at the necessary levels within the executive arm of government and awaits the relevant processes of approval by the Parliament. Both the AU-APC and the Kingdom of Eswatini noted that there are no impediments to the ratification process and will work with Parliament to expedite the process.
The Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Economic Planning and Development, Tapsile Mlangeni, says the 3 retiring officers in the ministry have demonstrated great leadership. Mlangeni says they have also served the country diligently. Mlangeni was speaking during a farewell function for the 3 officers held in Eswatini.
Employees of the Ministry of Economic Planning and Development bid farewell to the Director for Statistics, Amos Swane, the Director for Population Unit, Peter Dlamini, and the Human Resources Manager, Tembi Mtunzi. Speaking during the farewell function, the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Economic Planning, Tapsile Mlangeni, says these 3 officers showed great ability to lead people. She says that they also serve the country with diligence. Mlangeni says the HR was able to work hard and handle all issues pertaining employees.
3 of them have been very hard-working people. Angase sengibe nemacala lengiwatekako ukuthi sebagangile la sebenza inkhohlakalo la noma sebahluphe bantfu. It's very important to have motivated staff.
Sifiso Mambo, who spoke on behalf of cadre, stated that it will be quite a task to fill in these positions because of the hard work that the 3 officers demonstrated. All speakers spoke about the importance of unity in all the 3 departments. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni, Mbonga Dube, Ezulwini.
The Gwakha Indodza Director Tom Chichiat says the organization needs to substantiate all the positive stories through research. Chichiat says there is a great need for research that will help ascertain the behaviors of men in Eswatini. Chichiat was speaking during the official launch of the 2022 to 2027 strategic plan.
The Gwakha Indodza organization has launched a 7-year strategic plan. During a partners engagement, the KI Director, Tom Churchyard, says KI is looking to train entities in entrepreneurship as a way of raising funds for the organization to be able to sustain itself.
There's a massive knowledge gap in our work. We know that it's very necessary. We speak to people every day. We hear anecdotes and stories and testimony that say how necessary and impactful our work is. But we need hard numbers to also complement those stories and those testimonies. And so part of our objective in becoming thought leaders in this field is to do more research on men's attitudes, men's opinions, what makes men tick, why do some men behave in some ways and other men in others, and how can we better serve men and through them women and girls in order to make Eswatini a better place.
Lungelo Dlamini, one of the beneficiaries, says he was trained on welding and now he has a business of his own.
Before ngiqale utendela mina, but time bakhona bona ukuthi bangiqashe through lo program lebeyikhona lebe uthola itender emadesk ema-primary schools.
The organization has a number of programs such as the Good Debt campaign and training youth on different skills, among other initiatives. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni, Mbonga Dube, Ezulwini.
The Eswatini Epilepsy organization with Taiwan Medical Mission, together with relevant stakeholders, is training health workers on how to deal with issues of mental health, especially for epileptic people. The acting director, Dambuza Njalinjali, says they are conducting trainings because they saw a gap on matters of mental health for the epileptic people.
The acting director of Eswatini Epilepsy Organization, Dambuza Njalinjali, says more still needs to be done to capacitate local healthcare workers on neurological conditions faced by epileptic people.
We have seen the need for the professionals in the mental health space or the neurological space to come together and share knowledge and expertise around neurological, issues. We want all this information to be, brought together so that we have a large pool, of information when it comes to mental health and neurology.
Dr. Ye from Taiwan Medical Mission explains why they support the training.
Epilepsy is the second most common neurological disorders worldwide, and also from a report from the WHO, there's statistics shows that epilepsy is the second most burden of the disease in the neurological disease. Following by the strokes.
The Eswatini Epilepsy Organization says it will continue to look for ways to better the lives of people with epilepsy. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Ngamandla with Themba Shabangu Mbabane.
Let's take a look at the financial indicators.
It can be.
In sports news, the Eswatini Basketball Association, in collaboration with Nelisa Awakening Organization, have introduced a 3-on-3 wheelchair basketball tournament. Samgilsiwe Ndangamandla from Nelisa Awakening, who is the tournament coordinator, says the tournament seeks to develop wheelchair basketball in the country. The tournament will be held this coming Saturday in Manzini.
In a way of improving and developing wheelchair basketball in the country, Eswatini Basketball Association, in conjunction with Nelisa Awakening Organization, have introduced a 3-on-3 wheelchair basketball tournament. Samgesiwe Ndangamandla from Nelisa Awakening, who is also the tournament coordinator, says the tournament is aiming at developing wheelchair basketball in the country.
Here to invite you for a 3-on-3 wheelchair basketball tournament, the first of its kind wheelchair basketball tournament featuring talks on entrepreneurship, mental health and wellness, self-development and self-improvement. And it also creates a network for people to actually build their brands. And we will be talking about economic development.
Eswatini Basketball Association has also urged teams and players to use tournaments of this magnitude to improve their standards. The tournament will be held this coming Saturday in Manzini. For Eswatini TV Sports, Robinson Sonera, Mbabane.
Cricket national team head coach Delisa Malinga says they have been drawn against the heavyweights in the upcoming T20 World Cup qualifiers to be staged in Rwanda later this month. Eswatini is alongside the likes of Mozambique, Nigeria, Cameroon and Gambia. The qualifiers will begin on the 30th to the 6th of December this year.
Eswatini cricket national team continue with preparations of the T20 World Cup qualifiers that will be staged in 2024 in the United States and West Indies.
Igroup le tough le lesikuyo ngoba bakhona nabo Rwanda.
The national team coach Delis Malinga says the country is in tough group of the likes of Mozambique, Cameroon, Nigeria and Gambia. Malinga says the team is aiming to head to Rwanda to display the best performance.
Konke lesikulungiselelako nebadlali lesinabo ukuthi ba skill sabo singakanani. Sitaw improve our skill.
With the finals to be held in US and West Indies, the qualifiers will be held in Rwanda from the 30th of November to the 6th of December in Kigali this year. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera, Mbabane.
And that is how we reach the end of tonight's bulletin. But before we leave you, let's recap the top stories. The Prime Minister, Cleopas Dlamini, left the country to represent His Majesty King Mswati III at the United Nations Conference on Climate Change in Egypt. The Deputy Prime Minister says the international deal for the girl child provides the girl child and government with an opportunity to engage on issues affecting the youth. The governor of the Central Bank of Eswatini says they will make sure that when Eswatini adopts the use of the digital currency, it is safe from cybercrime.
Well, this has been a live broadcast of Eswatini TV News at 8. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. From all of us here at Eswatini TV, good night.
And you came to me like a bird to the breeze, and we floated together for a while.
We're for every kind of smile and amazing savings.